SBTV.
Let's go, this is Caspa and this is SBTV produces us. Let's go. Kind of just always remember being at school and listening to, like, remember the tape packs. All the older boys had the tape packs from the jungle raves, and I remember just getting a tape off my friend. I must have been about 13 years old, and it was Brocky and Det, and I remember just hearing that and just falling in love. Kind of around the same time, I think I must have bought, it might have been a little bit earlier, I bought Snap Rhythms of Dancer on tape at our price for 99p, and that was kind of my first really introduction to like dance music, both of those sort of things. Bought a pair of decks and had it on the side, like a wannabe DJ to go HMV, buy my vinyl with Black Market, all the record shops. But I kind of always done it on the side. It was never really like a main passion. I had my decks and I was buying garage vinyl. So then that was my kind of way into it. Was just trying to DJ garage, and then it got darker and darker, and I really liked the real heavy darker side of it, and that's when I kind of found the really early stages of dubstep, which is like 2000, 2001. And it was a place called Velvet Rooms down in Tottenham Court Road. And I went down there for my birthday. I think it was my 19th birthday. And I heard it, and I was just like, yeah, this is it. This is what I'm after. I can put my energy into something like this. At the time, Ammunition, who like run Rinse and Temper and all those labels, they had like they was putting out vinyl, so you could actually go and buy the vinyls of them. And I was like, yeah, this is the sound. And then from that, I found out that was their night called Forward, which was like for forward-thinking, darker underground music. So that's like kind of all linked in. I just found about this night and followed those people. Like Oris J, he was a resident down there. So kind of just went there and was kind of like, that was it. That was every month I'd go there. I think it's every last Thursday of the month. I remember, like I said, going down to the nights and then thinking, I want to make this music. But I blagged my mum to buy a PC for the house, blatantly just to make music on. I was like, yeah, we need it for schoolwork. So she bought that, and then I kind of just installed Fruity Loops on there. Someone gave me like a dodgy version, and then I just kind of started messing around with like downloading samples off the internet and just kind of throwing ideas down that I thought sounded good. That was my kind of way in, because the DJing thing was so tough, because no one would give you music. You'd ask someone for music, they'd be like, where'd you play? Oh, nowhere, I'm just, yeah, there's no point me giving you music. So it was impossible. So I knew my ticket into it was making some music, people to go, oh, let me get that tune off you, and you go, well, yeah, but you got to give me that tune. Cool. That was my way of doing it. A guy called Jada Flex had his one extra show, Underground Knowledge was what it's called, and he had a thing called Hot Off the Press, where up and coming producers would send their demos in. He'd pick his favourite one and he'd play it on air. So I sent him, I'd done this tune called Bass Bins. It was one of my first tunes. So I sent it in to him, and he played it. And then from then, someone called me and was like, oh, I got your number off Jada. I run a label. And I was like, oh, who's it? He's like, oh, it's Lombardo. So Lombardo was one of the residents down at Forward. So I was like, oh, perfect. Like, I go there, I know who you are. You know, he's from Leicester. So he was like, starting a label, I want to put that tune out on the label. I was like, brilliant. So I made like 2 or 3 tunes, so I gave them to Hatcher, and then he went down Forward and played all 3 of them, and all 3 of them got pulled up, like reloads. So I was like, oh, maybe I've got something here. It's really funny, because at the time you don't see it, but now I look back, it's crazy thinking how it all happened. It's really weird, but it was just the right place, the right time, the right music. Didn't sound like anything anyone was doing.
Yeah, tonight we're celebrating the album of Mr. Caspa in the building. Yo, are you gonna support the Alpha Omega? Let me hear you say yeah!
I've never really set out to write an album, as it were, do you know what I mean? It was a collection of music that I had that I could fit together. I knew I had the title a couple of years ago for it, and had loads of tunes laying around from it that I'd done previously, but wasn't sure what to do with. And then just kind of like, yeah, I've got something here now that I could put out that I think could be another decent long player. Everyone grew up listening to the Prodigy. Everyone. Like I don't know anyone who I'm associated with that doesn't like the Prodigy. Nick has been working on Prodigy for a while and kind of put the idea forward to me and put the idea forward to them guys, and Keith was kind of like, yeah, if the tune's right, I'm down. Then they had an idea for a vocal, which was the war vocal, and sent the a cappella over that they recorded. So it was tougher for me because I don't really work like that necessarily, like write a beat for a vocal, apart from like remixes. But this was more pressure because obviously it's Keith Flint, so it had to be right. So to be honest, I struggled with it for a while, getting it right, and I think Keith kind of thought he was dead and wasn't going to happen. And then it just come together, got the right sound, and he was just all over it, and they were like, yeah, love it. Just to say I'd done that, if it all stopped tomorrow, the stuff that I've done over the last 5 years, that especially would be on call. The whole dubplate culture in the UK dance music's always been very big. That culture kind of stayed within the UK, you know what I mean, on the sound systems and all that kind of stuff, and filtered into sort of when rave music started, and you know, when jungle was massive, it's all about dubs. But I think what kind of changed it was the internet. Like, if you wanted to hear DJ play certain tunes, you'd have to go to the rave. But now you can just jump online. And the whole dubplate culture, just as vinyl got less and less and digital become so present, the demand for it just cut down, and people were just kind of like, well, what's the point of cutting, you know, £50 dubs when I can just get the tune and just play it off CD, because everyone's playing CDs now off their laptop, whatever. So then the dubplate kind of culture kind of died off that, and there was very few people still doing it. I remember my last dubplate set, it was in Brixton Academy, New Year's Eve, and this was the state of the times at the time. It was like no one cared about vinyl anymore. And I remember going on, and they had the deck set up for me, and the feedback was ridiculous from the bass because it wasn't set up properly, because everyone was playing on CDs or laptop, so no one really cared about setting up the vinyl properly. So I couldn't play my set, and I had to play my whole set with half the bass off in Brixton Academy. So I was like, do you know what, forget this, I've got to kind of, if I want to keep progressing, I've got to kind of move forward with the times. And just, that was one occasion, and that was like a big one for me. So I was like, I'm done now. The internet's made the scene become almost reclusive, you know what I mean? You don't have to go to a cutting house or a record shop. You can sit in your studio, make tunes, take them and just go out and play. So the community's kind of been broken down and lost a bit as well. Don't get me wrong, at the same time, like, that's why dubstep got where it got, because the internet played a massive key part in that, and where Twitter and Facebook and all these things blew up, and MySpace, that's when dubstep was blowing up. So it gave it a real drive through the ranks very quickly. Where I kind of worry now is the next music, because music, you can see it. Music comes in, everyone's going crazy about it. Within 3 months, everyone's saying, oh, it's dead. You didn't even give it a chance. Like, you know, years ago, it took years to build a scene. Foundations and roots, and you having your main people who are like the heads of that kind of scene and are doing the stuff, who have the labels. You know, drum and bass, Hype, and your Goldies and your Andy C's and stuff. People are not giving music a chance to have that no more. And everything's becoming so throwaway, it's scary. And setting up a label as a new artist is, I don't want to sound old, but when I say this day and age, it's different, because it is, because everything is accessible because of the internet. You don't have to leave your bedroom or your house to have a label. Anyone can have a label now. Anyone can get distributed through iTunes and Beatport and all that kind of stuff. It was different back then because we was dealing with vinyl, like physical vinyl. You know what I mean? And I remember I borrowed my nan's pension money to go and set up get my first Storming Productions was my first label. So the first release on that, I borrowed her money. I think I borrowed like 1,500 quid off her, and I went and got it mastered and pressed up, got 500 done, and then I literally took all the records around to every single record shop in Soho and was like, do you want to take some of these to sell? And they were like, what music is it? And I was like, I don't know, because at the time we remember it wasn't called dubstep, it was just called Forward. That was the name we had for it, because that was the only place that represented it. They were like, oh yeah, it's cool. So I'd go around to all the shops and leave like 5 on sale or return, which is SOR, and then go back every week and check if they've sold, top them up, collect the money or whatnot. Didn't have distribution at all, so it's all done from my bedroom. And then it went from that, and I made the money back on that and put it into the next one, and I made the money back from that and put it into the next one. And after about the 3rd or 4th release, I managed to get a distribution deal. So now it's different. Now it's called dubstep, and you don't really sell vinyl anymore. It's all digital based, so you can set up a digital, get a nice little logo and go online and everything. You don't have to lay out any money. Everyone masters their tunes themselves at home. But I love it. Like, I loved being a part of that history back then, that I was a part of starting it and getting it going, and one of the first people, you know, apart from obviously Ammunition, outside of them, to get it going and really push the scene and kick it up the arse. This is my main setup. So got my Dyne audio speakers, my BM15s, my babies. I've had these for a good while now, and then my reference monitors, which are my Yamaha NS10s, which are like studio standards all around the world in any kind of studio. My desk, which I custom made when I moved in about 6 months ago. Just my Power Mac, and then it's got gigs and things on there and hard drives and stuff. It's powerful. I don't know exactly what. And then my universal audio, which is my plugins for like EQs and compressors and all kind of mixed down processor kind of stuff. And then my hard drive just to back everything up, you know. And then my 2 cinema displays, so I can spread everything across, just to get my sequence page on one and then kind of the plugins on the other. And then my sound card that I'm running is, I've always run with Apogee. I had a Duet before and I moved over to this, which is the Quartet, which is like audio interface, control, everything all in one really. Yeah, so like as far as hardware goes, I don't really mess with it too much because I'm quite an impatient producer. So really I keep it stripped back to what I need hardware wise. And here I've got, this is my vocal chain, and so I've got my Neve 1073 preamp. So this is like a classic from the 70s mic preamp, which powers the mic basically, but this is like a new updated copied version of the original. Yeah, so that cost me, I think it was like £1,900. To be honest, I haven't got a clue when it comes to mics. I ain't got a clue, honestly. But this was recommended to me from Mr. Hudson's engineer. So this only comes out special occasions really, like to get the vocals done. This is a USB mic. So if you just want to get like ideas down or little one-lining vocals, which I do, like oi, hey, hello, just into this, it records straight into USB, goes straight into Logic, so you can get your own samples and effects. That's like £100, wicked, good quality too. Definitely, if you're going to spend any money, it's in a good pair of speakers. Alright, don't have to be super expensive, just you can hear like a lot what's going on, and get yourself a decent sound card, because having really good speakers and low sound cards doesn't make sense, because you're plugging straight into the PC, which is, it's going to sound a bit better but it's still going to sound crap. But get yourself a good sound card and good pair of speakers, that's essential. First setup was, I had an IKEA laundry, like a laundry thing you put laundry on. It was like £15. That's why I bought it. It was so cheap. I had that. I had the home computer was in my room. It was an old Dell computer. It was terrible. Fruity Loops that I got free, and PC speakers. That was it. That's how I started. So this track here is a track off my album Alpha Omega. This particular track is called Let the Rush Kick In, and it's a tune I've done with Party Squad. So Party Squad, if you don't know those guys, they're from Amsterdam and they're signed to Mad Decent, which is Diplo's label. So, and they're doing real work at the moment. So yeah, I've done this tune a while ago with them, and the vibe behind it, kind of their style, they're into like hard style reggae roots, but kind of more in a Dutch heavier way. And then obviously my style was like dubstep, so we kind of just got the idea of maybe doing something where we can merge it together, and kind of get all different elements but in one. So that's basically the idea behind the track, and so I'll play it for you so you guys can hear it straight away.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, I'm on the highest mountain, yes I feel so high. I'm on top of the world, now watch me touch the sky.
So that's kind of like the gist of the tune. So really, like the main elements as you can hear is kind of, like I said, mishmashing the whole different styles together and trying to create something that's kind of like, I suppose it's not original, but just a bit different. And I think because the tune's so nice and vibey, I didn't want to take away too much from the drop and make it too ridiculously like crazy and too heavy and too messy. I wanted to keep the nice vibe of it but still keep it a little bit dirty. They sent me basically like a guitar lick, which is this. Which is the main melody, and then they also sent me this vocal.
Yeah, I'm on the highest mountain, yes I feel so high. I'm on top of the world, now watch me touch the sky. Hard up.
So that's what I had kind of really to work with, and then I always start my tunes with beats all the time. As you can see, I'm using Logic and Reason. So Reason's basically like rewired into Logic, so I was like, let me find a way of combining both where I can use like plugins and synths from Logic but still get the easy accessible use from Reason, because that's what I know and use. So that's what I've done. Now I'm strictly on Logic, but this particular track and a lot of tracks on the album are rewired together. So I always start by using Reason for my drums. The beat I started with on this one, let me just check this loop here, and I'll mute it so you can hear the drums by itself. So that's like the idea of the beat. Within that beat there, it's kind of got space, so you can put it's got like the raggery sort of rootsy feel where it's got space, you know, like the halftime drums. So once I kind of got a groove of the drums, really, I'm just gonna like lay the guitar lick underneath it to see what it sounds like. So that's kind of got like the main vibe. That was kind of how I started with the beginning of the tune. Then I'll go for working out the key of the tune, and kind of trying to get like a little a little bass melody in there, or kind of sometimes it just works, you just follow the melody with a bass. And then over the top of that I kind of layered it so you could hear the bass a bit more with this sound. So it sounds like a bit more of a little bit more of a live bass, as it were, like, you know what I mean? And then you got the beats come back in the melody. So then that's kind of the basics, and once I got that, and I think what's really key is as well, what I don't know how other people work, but for me, what always works out, like I always mix down as I go. Music's all on a vibe, so I think you should be getting the initial vibe of how things should sound from the get-go. So yeah, basically with the drums, just keep them nice and, you know, nice and simple, and keep the compression and EQing, you know, just simple, stripped back. And I always tend to keep my channels You know, certain people really push their channels, they're in the red. I strip them back and keep them clean. So once I've got that, it's initially like mixing down as I go. I've got the layout, and now we're kind of rolling into getting more of an arrangement and a drop, and working towards a drop. So here you can see I play you with the vocal in the intro.
I'm on the high, I won't lose away. I don't fear anything, now let the rush kick in. Let the rush kick in.
So that basically bass sound there is just, I don't even use it too much anymore, to be honest, but that is a massive sound. And that's basically just following the pattern of the sub. So I play that by itself. I've basically EQ'd it, so I've taken the bottom out of the original sound on the synth, pushed a little bit around 4K to get a bit more gritty, and rolled the real highs right off about 1700 hertz. So I've added a bit crusher. This is an SSL compressor, if it loads up. A little bit of reverb, a stereo imager, which just makes it the sound a little bit wider and a bit more stereo. A flanger. So I play you at bare, and I play it with all the plugins on. Actually doesn't sound too bad, but so that's with the flanger on, bit crusher, compressor, reverb, and a bit of stereo. Basically, and I'll show you the stereo imager. It's just that, and you can keep pushing it as wide as you want. You know, there's only certain things that I use all the time. Like stereo imager I like on certain things because you can really spread the sound out a bit more. The idea was carnival. That's what I had in mind. I wanted to get some carnival vibe in there. So then I switched it from this drop. So that's what I wanted to do. That was the other part of the element, is like intro, bring it down into kind of a dubstep tune, and then switch it to like a carnival thing. And when I first done it, I played it to a few people, and they were like, "No, I'm not sure about it," but I was like, "Oh, whatever." And then within that, obviously, I've tried to find like a few samples. So I've got like the air raid sign running through it. I found like an old sample from like an old dancehall mixtape, and it was. Pull up that tune there, and I thought that sounded wicked. It sounds like you're bringing the tune back, and then it switches into something else. You know what I mean? And all those little things, I think, are like attention to detail that really like make you a tune. Because without it now, if you mute that, I don't know, for me it just wouldn't sound the same. Like it just sounded, it switches. You know what I mean? It just adds that little element, the little flavour, the whole idea of the tune. Keeps it in the flow. So that was that basically, to get the whole carnival-y, not hard style because it's a bit harder, but the 440 pumping that kind of Party Squad are into as well. Because I wanted to put some of their element within my producing onto it. Was that, and then I wanted another part in the tune where I kind of wanted to break down, where all it was vocal, the skank and the sub. So proper like Soundboy, kind of, again, carnival vibes, whether you got your naughty cigarettes in the air and your red stripes or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm on the highest mountain, yes, I feel so high. I'm on top of the world, now watch me touch the sky. Heart of a lion, I won't lose a wing. I don't fear anything, now let the rush kick in. I'm on the highest mountain, yes, I I feel so high.
See, for me, that's important to have it in that tune because it is the breakdown of the tune before it goes back in the second drop. But again, it's another element. So when you look at it, you've got the intro, which is completely different to the drop, which is completely different to the next part of the tune, which is completely different to anything that's gone on so far. Because on a sound system, if you hear that, it's just the sub pumping, it's just the vocal going, it's a vibe, lighters go up, you know what I mean? So once I've got that and I feel happy with the actual sound of the tune, then what I might do is go over the whole tune and just tweak everything a little bit more where it might be a little bit too loud, or the EQ's not right on it, or add a little sounding because it doesn't sound right. Then I'll tweak it. Then what I'll do is I'll bounce the tune and then I'll turn my computer screens off and then I'll just listen to the music. And I think what people don't do enough is they're so busy on looking at stuff like, that's how I think it should be, or it's too visual. Sometimes like these are the best instruments, you just listen to it and if it sounds right, it's fine. If it doesn't sound right, then go in and tweak it. But I think visually people spend too much time on tweaking something because they think it doesn't look how it should normally. But does it sound good? Then leave it, it's fine. If it's wrong or right, go back in, tweak it, whatnot. If it's fine, then I'll leave it and then it go in the folder, finish tunes. Big thanks to SBTV for my producer's house session. Big up, thank you.
Subscribe to SBTV to keep updated on the latest releases and check out more of our videos below.
I'm on the highest mountain, yes I feel so high. I'm on top of the world, now watch me touch the sky.